How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. We also got to put in the disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor and this isn't financial advice. So just know when you do invest, you're doing it at your own risk. So today we're going to be talking about SOS and EBON. But before we get started, of course, we got to go over the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below in the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're considering to take a position, then I highly suggest you watch the entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the price action that we saw on Friday, and we want to see, is it looking bearish or is it looking bullish? And what do we need to look for in regards to a reversal? And then when that's done, we're going to be going on Fintel, and we're going to be taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. We want to know, are institutions loading up on these stocks, and what is the overall market sentiment, and do these stocks have short squeeze potential? And then when all of that is done, I'll be giving you guys my final thoughts. So let's get into it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for SOS. So let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $3.37, being down 11.32% on the day. On the low, it tested $3.33, and then on the high, testing $3.74. So what we want to do is see how it lines up with our indicators. So we can see here it is below the 200-day. It's also below the 100-day, but it is staying above the 21-day EMA. The area that we need to also take notice of, there is a key area of support for SOS at that 330 level. If that area does decide to end up breaking, then of course we have to see that area of support hold up at the $3 level. This is definitely key. And if that area does decide to ever end up breaking, don't be surprised to see areas in the 270s as well as the 280s and also the 290s. So if you believe in the long-term prospects of SOS, I see these as opportunities because I believe this stock has a ton of upside. Also, if we take a look at the RSI down below, it's right around fair value being in that 50 range. So do keep in mind this is not in the overbought territory, okay? So it's right smack dab in the middle because it's also not oversold either. So taking everything into consideration and taking a look at the chart, yes, it has been on a bearish pattern, but as you can see, when we had a little bit more of a pop going on in the crypto space, we ended up getting some spikes and we were above the 100-day. So I'm looking forward for next week to actually reclaim the 100 and be able to actually start testing that $4 sometime in June. So whether it's going to be the first week, which is next week, or the week after, I want to see that $4 level for SOS. Keep in mind this is going to be a resistance area, so there's a lot of volume and there's a lot of buying pressure. No doubt in my mind we can come back up here and reclaim the 200-day at $4.43. So let's just wait and see what happens. So we're on Fintel. We're going to be taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for SOS. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So you can see here as of May the 21st, which was Citadel, and we also had Virtue and also Spire on the 21st and on the 29th. We haven't been seeing any recent institutional activity whatsoever. Of course, I am not surprised at that due to the fact there is a lot of uncertainty going down with a lot of Chinese companies due to the Chinese government crackdown on crypto. So if we take a look now at the short interest information here, the short volume ratio is right at 19%. So it is below that 21%, but hey, we got to take a look at some more information. So if you take a look at the short shares availability, it is at 100,000, updated 8 minutes ago, and the short borrow free rate is at 10.66%. So that is fairly up there. And if we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio being at 18, keep in mind the day before it was at 24.05. This is also no surprise either because keep in mind of the fact the crypto stocks ended up getting a good surge and SOS was able to benefit from this surge. So as soon as when this occurred, by the time the end of the day came, of course there were a lot of short positions in, and that's why it's no surprise as you come into the long weekend, which was on the Friday, you see how it is a lot lower because a lot of them ended up saying, hey, there's not really much more room room left because the price did dip down quite a bit. So these are one of the things that I want you guys to realize. So seeing it at 19% right now, if it does decide to surge back up again next week, I will not be surprised if that short volume ratio does increase. If it decides to pull back even further, then I would not be surprised if the short volume ratio actually ends up going down even lower. So we'll see what happens next week. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for EBON. So let's see how it performed on Friday. So I ended up closing at $2.89, being down 6.17% on the day. On the low, it tested $2.87, and then on the high, testing $3.07. If we take a look at how it's lining up with our indicators, it is below the 200-day. It is also below the 100-day, but it is showing some strength on that 21-day EMA since it's at $2.88 and it closed at $2.89. So taking everything into consideration, of course, let's take a look at our RSI. So the RSI is right around 50, so it's right in that fair value range. So what could potentially happen? The stock pulls back, then definitely look out for areas right here around the 260 level, and we already know there's a possible area where it could pull back where it's shown some strength right here around this 244, 245 level, which we've confirmed on this channel. That seems to be the bottom for EBON, especially since it's very near the 52-week low, which is around $2.37, right? So one thing that we want to also take in mind is the fact that this $3 area, you already know, is become an area of resistance. This is a psychological area. We did end up testing this area on Friday, even though we closed above 3. So what I'm looking forward for next week is to see EBON go back to being comfortable above $3. It can do this, but one of the things we need to understand, there's also a lot of negative sentiment in the stock because it is a Chinese company, and we know that China's cracking down on cryptocurrencies big time, and it also is affected by the volatility in the cryptocurrency market. So there's a lot of factors that are moving here, but I do believe if they end up having a big time catalyst, or if we see quite a big time resurgence in crypto sector overall in general, then it's definitely going to make a strong move to the upside. So we're on Fintel. We're going to be taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for EBON. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. And as we take a look, as of Friday on May the 28th, we have 2 institutions that loaded up. We have Siren Nasdaq Next Gen Economy ETF purchasing 472,960 shares of EBON. That is definitely a sizable position right there, and it's something we have to take notice of. Also, we have State Street Global Equity going in with 15,400 shares. So taking this all in, institutions are showing some bullish sentiment in regards to the stock. If we take a look now at the short volume ratio, for the short volume ratio, it is right at 21%, which is what we look for stocks that have short squeeze potential. This is also taking into consideration the close as of Friday. If we take a look now at the short shares availability, it stands at 2.5 million, and the short borrow free rate is at 1.90, and of course these were updated 3 minutes ago. Taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, it has been consistent in that 21 range since the 27th and even going up to the 28th. Also, you got to take into consideration it was above the 21 range back on the 24th, the 21st, and as well as the 20th. So we know that there was a recent surge in a lot of crypto stocks. So part of the reasons why I saw the short volume ratio go up is really no surprise at all due to the surge. There is a lot of uncertainty going down in China in regards to its crackdown on cryptocurrency, and this is part of the reasons why I'm not even surprised that EBON is also affected from this as well. So for my final thoughts for SOS and EBON, I'm definitely not surprised with the sell-off due to the fact that we were heading into a 3-day long weekend. You guys already know there's a lot of volatility in the crypto space, and many people did not feel comfortable holding shares over this period. So taking all of that into consideration, if you are buying and holding and you have shares just like myself, again, there are more opportunities where you could take advantage of if you're looking at getting in on some pullbacks. Another thing to also be aware of, there's also a lot of FUD out there. You're seeing things about lawsuits. You're also seeing like, well, you know what, SOS is a bad investment, blah, 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 blah. What gives me high conviction is that I believe that Bitcoin is going to be hitting 100K. And when it does reach 100K, SOS and EBON will benefit from this. We also do know, as far as for SOS, they do have a solid business. They were showing that they were profitable even before they started pivoting into cryptocurrency. And we've already seen all of the operations, and on top of that, we've seen the decisions that they have been making as far as making progress, making successes. We've seen in regards to plants they set up. We've seen in regards to updates in mining rigs. And we're also seeing, due to the fact that there is a lot of volatility going down in China. We have the Chinese government trying to crack down on crypto. So of course, this leads to a lot of uncertainty inside the market. And it's part of the reasons why we're also seeing institutions are not pulling the trigger as fast, with the last update coming, I think it was on the 21st for SOS. But for EBON, we've seen some institutions who are loading up, and I feel like they're just taking advantage of the current prices of where it's at, because I feel even for both of these stocks, if you're catching it below $3 or even into the low threes, you're still giving yourself the opportunity to take advantage when they start making that move to the upside. So if you're not prepared for the volatility, then I suggest you have a better game plan in place. And also, if you're following my rule in regards to your portfolio, these particular plays should not be taking up no more than 5 to 10%. So even if they have wild swings, or even if they're down, it won't have a big time impact on your overall portfolio in general. And this is part of the reasons why I have high conviction in a lot of plays, and I'm not really bothered with all of the swings that are going on. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.